Let's get it on!
Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Ducross. Along my side, as always, is my partner in crime, the one and only Sean Ducross. Sean, welcome to the Warriors Den. What an incredible show we have on store for everybody today. We got amateur fighter, MMA Dana Hernandez in the building. It's going down later this evening, so be sure to catch her interview live in the Warriors Den. In the meantime, we have a little bit of breaking news that is coming through, that has came through the pipe, and it is that of the mastermind behind everything that is known as MMA and the UFC. Dana White has come out and said he has a multi-fight contract and huge money payday for a boxing world champion.
We talked about it last week in Anthony Joshua about the fact that he's a freak of nature. Not a lot of people can compete at his level, and now you're really not going to compete at his level because, unfortunately, what's interesting is you don't offer Conor McGregor the money, but you go out and offer a heavyweight $500 million on a multi-fight who's never fought MMA in his life, and here this guy's going to get $500 million. You know how much time and effort goes into MMA fighters putting on the grind work and everything else like that? This guy walks in, no professional fights, and says, guess what? I'm making $500 million. How does that make sense to everybody that's watching? How does that make sense to a guy like Conor McGregor sitting on the back still trying to get a fight? Because he made over $1 million boxing. But wait, this guy is expected to sign on the dotted line after his fight against against Parker.
Because the way that I see this is that when you're looking at Anthony Joshua, is that it's simple. Because Dana White is all about money. Dana White and the new family that owns the UFC, they're looking at two sides of the spectrum here. They have Zuffa Boxing that is right behind everything, right? So Zuffa Boxing has yet to come out. All we see is shirts. That's all fine and dandy. I can show you a shirt right now. And it's Threshold MMA. It's that simple. When you look at what's going on with this whole Zuffa Boxing is that you need a face to go behind it. You're not just going to go out there and pluck a fighter and say, well, we're going to build an organization around this guy.
But basically, you are doing it. You're going to boxing and say, you know what? Let's go take this fighter and say, you know what? He's going to be the next big thing.
But he could sell out 75,000 seat stadium at Wembley.
Selling out 75,000 seats for boxing and selling out 70,000 seats in MMA is two vastly different, because you got boxing fans, combat fans.
You don't think those boxing fans will come over?
It's hard because you haven't seen anything from Anthony Joshua. Yes, he's selling out Wembley. Yes, but the guy's from Wembley area. So if he doesn't sell out Wembley, you might as well slap the guy upside of the head and say, you didn't do your job.
But when we're looking at combat sports and we're looking at money right now, we're looking at $500 million, 353 in the UK. That's a problem when you're looking at anybody in the MMA world. Because when you think about people wanting to get paid and get their dues paid, at the end of the day, you're looking at a guy that's a crossbreed and you're thinking, well, hey, if he gets $500 million, what about me? Conor McGregor already shattered all records for every single MMA fighter to get paid millions of dollars. Everybody hates this guy, whether his antics is right or wrong, it doesn't matter. He brings in $1 million. Ain't no other fighter has ever done that. Now you're saying that you're willing to give a guy a multi-fight contract for $500 million?
You better hope to God that deal is underneath Zuffa Boxing and not MMA.
Right, because this...
Or else all hell will break loose and you will not see the end of Conor McGregor.
Dude, and
trust me on that one.
In the MMA, the heavyweight division is already a joke in itself.
We talked about that last week.
You put Joshua, just pick him up, put him into the UFC heavyweight division, might as well crown him. Because there is nobody in that heavyweight division. I don't care about Miocic, because Miocic is a guy that he's a boring fighter when he wants to win. When he wants to win, he'll be a boring fighter. But when he's not a champion, he's one of the most exciting fighters. That's about it. That's your claim to fame? in the heavyweight division.
But that's the issue we said last week, is the whole heavyweight division, whether it be MMA, whether it be boxing, the whole issue is the fact there isn't anybody at the top of the food chain. And when you look at it, it's like, yeah, you know what? Miocic is at the top of the food chain. Daniel Cormier is at the top of the food chain. Then who else? So yes, Anthony Joshua comes over, gets plopped on top. It is what it is. But you guys got like Ngannou, you got Volkov, and you look at all
Francis
those guys.
calls out Brock Lesnar, who just destroyed Roman Reigns on TV.
So you look at all those avenues, none of those guys right now in this time can sell a heavyweight fight except for Miocic and Cormier. That's why you're taking a light heavyweight, puffing him up to a heavyweight, and saying, you know what, you're going to take on a true heavyweight. Yep. It's like watching Verdum take on Volkov, a natural heavyweight, versus a guy who's a puffed up heavyweight. I said it last week with Verdum saying, you know what?
You want a new combat sports talk show? Check out the Sports Warriors with the Ducross brothers, Sean and Tristan Ducross, live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Ducross brothers Facebook fan page. You want a new combat sports talk show? Check out the Sports Warriors with the Ducross brothers, Sean and Tristan Ducross. We're going to have to do too for shows in time, because 90% of the time, I'm not tooting my own horn, but dude, we called that fight exactly how we said it was going to be. The only chance that Verdum had at winning that fight was if he got it to the ground. If he stood there and trade, that was a joke in itself, because you can't stand there and trade with a guy that has heavier hands than you, faster than you, quicker than you. At any point in time when you are trying to adjust your angles and you cannot get inside and your only weapon is a kick, you're leaving yourself wide open for everything that's going to come over the top, because that's all you kept doing is kicking. And Verdum got caught.
And he got messed up real bad towards the end of that fight. And Verdum's like, oh, I'm so sad. I'm disappointed with the outcome.
Maybe if he stops doing that weird Grinch face, maybe he can actually focus on training a little bit more.
I guess everybody knows what he's going to look like for, what is it? When you do, Halloween. There you go.
Yeah,
he'll dress up as the Grinch.
Yeah. That smile is stupid. Hey, how the heck did he ever come up with that? Verdum is a guy that is long in the tooth now in a weak heavyweight division. You thought that a win like this would catapult him back into the heavyweight division for a title shot. That's not going to happen. We now have Volkov, who, again, I think
one win away from being in a title shot for a weak-ass division.
And Volkov, when you look at him as the heavyweight, he's the only true heavyweight that's going to stand at that top, and he's going to take out either DC or Miocic. It's done. Nobody's going to be able to stand that power. When you're that hungry,
you talk about me with bold predictions. That was a bold claim. Him taking down Miocic.
Dude, our tagline is not cross the line for a reason.
I know, and that's kind of borderlining across the line, because Volkov taking out Miocic, it's like throwing up a Hail Mary that Aaron Rodgers throws up every year, and it seems like it gets caught. Former heavyweight champion
of Bellator. Dude, everybody's taking away credit from him because he no-showed Bellator and ran to
Russia, stayed there and competed before he came over.
They stripped the title from him, and now the title has been non-existent in Bellator for several years now. That's why they're having the heavyweight tournament now, because they went out and basically went to the retirement home to pull out every single heavyweight out of there to pray that they can crown a heavyweight champion. But Volkov's still young, still could go out there and actually give a couple good years in that heavyweight division. I'm just sad that heavyweight division is as bad as the bantamweight division in the UFC, because it was rinse and repeat with Ronda Rousey. It's rinse and repeat with Amanda Nunes. There's nobody that's going to be able to stand there.
But one guy that can't seem to stand there and find a W is Tyron Ware, again, not being able to get his first W in the UFC, now going to 0-3, but yet another fight that is classified well. I still came at the guy. I still put on a fight. If you look at the CompuScores, I outstriked the other guy. I took down the guy twice, and I still didn't win. So my question that I asked...
The Twitter war, the name the fan, every fan known to man, either for or against. Every get behind the CompuStats stats. But that's like saying, dude, just because you can hit 30 home runs and you bat a $140 doesn't mean you're a great player.
No, but you're one of those players that is like classified as your triple A player. Okay? So you've got your triple AA player. The best analogy I ever used for that one is the former baseball player in Adam Heinz-Dew.
Yep.
The guy that had all the talent, but yet when he got to the major leagues,
He just couldn't,
couldn't
quite
put
get
it
over that
together.
hump. Right.
Tyrone Ware seems like he's that guy.
Ran through
Is that-
RFA.
ran through LFA.
Yeah.
You name it, he ran through it, and everybody's like, dude, this guy's got to make it to the UFC.
Calls out Sean Shelby, calls out UFC, calls out Dana White, gets a contract with the UFC, falls to 0-3, 3 fights technically you're out of the UFC.
But
It's
the
always
thing is
been
that when
way.
you fight competitively,
you get
you get your due.
yeah.
And my question to you and to anybody else out there is that when you're 0-3 and you're not released from the UFC because you put on great shows, great fights, whatever it may be, is that everybody throws around the notion of gatekeeper. Okay? You're the gatekeeper here. And everybody's going to take their shot, and you're going to be placed here against helping prospects. Is he your prototypical true gatekeeper? Because he keeps taking on these top UFC prospects and essentially elevating them because his record shows he's doing a great job at it. These guys are fighting each other and putting on a great show, and it pleases everybody. So is he your prototypical gatekeeper? And I would assume that that's the way that it is now is, hey, he's your true gatekeeper. So if you're Tyrone Ware, chalk it up, dude, as a win. You made it to the UFC. You're 0-3. You're probably going to be one of the few that doesn't get released. So bravo and hats off to you.
I just think we have to change the dynamic of how the judges is scoring fights. Because we've been there, dude. We've seen how judges score. Ware's just on the downslide, and I don't know if anything's going to stop him, especially in the UFC where we're heading. It's just not going to happen. But we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back. We are the Ducross Brothers, the Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Ducross. This is Sean Ducross. We got Dana Hernandez in the building. She'll be coming up a little bit later. We are on ielivetv.com, so be sure you check out that. Hit
Live
us up
Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Ducross Brothers Facebook fan page. You want a new combat sports talk show? Check out the Sports Warriors with the Ducross Brothers, Sean and Tristan Ducross, live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Ducross Brothers Facebook fan page. You want a new combat sports talk show?
We are the Ducross Brothers, the Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Ducross.
We keep it coming.
Right, all day. All day. Who are you kidding? This is Sean Ducross. Dana Hernandez is in the building from Threshold MMA. Believe it. She's scared. She's nervous, whatever you want to call it. Make her totally uncomfortable. We'll get into it later, a little bit later. But don't miss that. But in the meantime, Sean, here we go. We talked about Anthony Joshua going from boxing to MMA or boxing to Zuffa boxing in the umbrella of MMA. It doesn't matter. We got Floyd Mayweather, and I think I still have the text. Should I have Dana read it on live air and I mean not put the guy on blast, but kind of
No, let's not do that right now.
No, okay.
But we'll just say
I do have it. I'm just saying.
we
I
do have
text.
it that Tyrone Woodley is not training Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is not training with Tyrone Woodley. So let's get those rumors just swept underneath the rug right now and say, guys, let's get it right. Just because it's Tyrone Woodley and he hates the UFC, his own employer, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see Floyd Mayweather in an octagon anytime soon. Even though if you listen to it, that Floyd Mayweather says, give him about 6 to 8 months and the guy is going to be MMA ready.
MMA ready. What exactly, right?
No, I was waiting for you to play the clip.
Live on air.
6 to 8 months.
There you go.
Whatever
He's
it
laughing
takes.
about
We
the
want to
whole-
make sure that everything is done correctly and everything is done the right way.
So he wants to make sure that everything's done the right way. But when you look at the whole aspect of what it takes to be an MMA fighter, we just talked about it with Anthony Joshua. At some point, when do you say enough's enough? It's like, we've always said that when you've got to fight in combat, you have to be able to sell yourself to make the money. When you fight MMA, you don't get paid like a boxer. So you got to promote the sport as if it is almost such. So everybody's like, oh, why is Floyd Mayweather even thinking about doing this? It'll ruin his legacy. Again,
Will it? Or will it bring his legacy to another level?
that's the thing, is that when you look at why did he do the Conor McGregor fight? Because it was all about the money. You point to the easy work. Competing in MMA style is not easy work. I don't even get where he could say that his game is his wrestling is a 7 out of a 10.
Wait. Because if you ask his bodyguards, they say he's an Olympic wrestler. This dude weighs like a $110 soaking wet.
Okay,
I can pick him and throw him across the way.
I don't care that the fact is that he says he's an Olympic wrestler, okay?
No, his bodyguard said that.
If you go and watch
At the airport.
If you go and watch
TMZ.
Ronda Rousey in WWE, whether it's staged or not, she chucks people around looking like rag dolls. I bet you 10-1 Dana Hernandez could pick up Floyd Mayweather and chuck him from one end of this den to the other end of this den.
This is true.
So to say that his wrestling's a 7 out of 10.
Even our audience agrees with us. Is that, dude, this is Dana. Woohoo! Straight across the board.
We'll line them up and knock them down like bowling pins. When you've got Floyd Mayweather lining up and saying, my wrestling's a 7 out of a 10 and my kicking's a 4 out of 10.
Just because you were chasing chickens doesn't mean you can wrestle.
You take one kick from Conor McGregor or Jose Aldo or a soccer player for that matter,
Hold up.
your leg's going to snap like a twig.
I'm going to put this on blast real quick. Hey, Dana Hernandez. Oh, yeah. I told you I was going to make this real. So, 7 out of 10 wrestler. You being a wrestler. School these people. How hard is it?
It's hard. Even in the almost 2 years that I've been wrestling, I wouldn't say I'm a 7 out of 10 wrestler.
Okay.
So what would you say your wrestling's at?
Like a 2, if that. And I'm wrestling every single day, 7 days out of the week. Like, I have a coach who's so knowledgeable in wrestling, and I still don't think that I'm there yet. There's just so much to learn every single day. You have to put in the work constantly.
So are you sure you don't want me to pull up the text and have Dana read it live on air? Are you sure? Because boy, he said he's a 7 out of 10. I got Dana Hernandez saying that she's a 2. Oh, there's a little bit of discrepancy here. A true MMA fighter that is learning the craft versus a dude that's been in it for about a second.
Who's just kind of wet behind the ears?
Yeah. It's going to happen. Forget it. It's going to happen. Just promise me you won't say who it's coming from. So, where is it? All right. So, as you can see right here, this is a conversation that I'm having between, so you know who it is, right? Read what I wrote about Floyd.
Starting on this one.
Yep. Don't say his name, the guy that I'm talking to.
Hey, it's Tristan. Was wondering if you could let me know if it's true that Woodley is training Mayweather. His answer was BS for now. You want me to keep reading?
Nope.
Just that?
That is all. So as you can clearly see, the people behind the camp that supposedly this is happening, the man himself says that it's BS. So we got a guy claiming to be a 7 out of 10 wrestler, a guy claiming to be training with somebody in a camp already. I get word it's BS for now. The thing that you have to know about the Ducross brothers is that our tagline is cross the line. everybody that has listened to our show knows we don't pull no punches. We don't sugarcoat anything. You want the hard truth? Come here. We ain't other networks. We're not other clickbait sites. Hey, click me. I want likes. I want this. No. I have 100% facts and truth. It's BS for now. Tyrone Woodley ain't training Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather is just blowing a smoke of everybody's just to get people talking.
And that's exactly what he's known
hook
for.
on it. TMZ runs with it. Why are you even playing into TMZ? TMZ is a garbage news site that wants to just get everybody riled up and talk about it. BS for now.
It's how quick can you spin this and run with it. It's like watching reality news and just seeing how quick can you throw out a line and see who's going to run with it. It's like when Antonio McKee came on our show and said, let's tag him as him being bipolar or schizophrenic Antonio McKee.
Hey, he told us to lead with that. So.
But it's that type of stuff that nowadays you throw out there to see what type of bait do you get. Floyd Mayweather may not be the most intelligent guy in the bag. He may not be the smartest guy when it comes to speaking to the media. But one thing that he has always been very underrated for is his ability to hook you in, pull you in, and say, guess what? This may be reality. And you ask yourself, why would this be reality? The guy's undefeated. The guy is a world-class boxer like nobody's ever seen in this time frame. And he beat Conor, yes.
He basically drugged Conor McGregor for 10 rounds and then said, I had enough. I had enough with my toy. It was a nice little shiny new toy. I got paid $200 million to play with this new toy, and then I'm going to knock him out.
And that's basically where this comes down to, is that if he steps into the octagon against an MMA fighter, he's going to get knocked out or he's going to get submitted. We've seen that with James Toney.
So I just want to clarify something. My contact is the camp's head coach with Tyrone Woodley. That ain't happening, folks. It's not happening right now. So deny the claims? Yes, they're denied. They're dispelled. I have the truth. I have the facts. So whether you want to believe it or not, it's cool. It's done. He ain't trading with Tyrone Woodley. I don't have to call Tyrone Woodley and say, hey, Woodley, you trading me with? No, because it's not. I know where Tyrone Woodley trains. He went back home.
We announced that he was going back home.
Yep.
But you look at what Floyd Mayweather is doing, and you can't help but go back to when Conor McGregor and then they were spitting all that garbage at each other. And then Floyd Mayweather looked across and looked at Dana White and said, dude, remember when we spoke about this? That this would be coming? This has always been coming.
Why do I have the sudden image of him throwing his stripper money around when you said that? Like, that is the only thing I had. Dana Hernandez over here cracking up laughing. Right? Exactly. That's what I thought.
What was it? How many strippers you got on your payroll?
Right. How many strippers you got on payroll? And your money's fine. I was so hoping that day that Conor McGregor took all that money and just threw it in the audience. Like, how epic would that have been? See ya, Floyd. There's all your money.
Or I was just hoping that Mayweather was going to rip up that Ireland flag and we're going to see just an entire chaos ensue on the stage. That would have been just epic, of epic proportions. But why do I have a feeling that this is going to be underneath Zuffa Boxing? He's playing it up as if hey guys, I'm going to go do MMA. And then he's like, hey guys, I'm Zuffa Boxing.
Because I think everybody thinks that when you're talking about Dana White, you immediately think UFC. But people fail to realize that there's a thing called Zuffa Boxing. But oh wait, only shirts are relative at this point. Like I said.
And what's interesting,
I got a shirt. You got a shirt. We all got shirts. Come on. Really? That's what we're talking about right now?
But I guess when it talks about when everybody gets a shirt, or when Oprah says everybody gets a new car, I guess everybody gets
get a car.
I guess everybody gets a W when he took on a British boxer in Robin Dinkin. And I bring this up because it's an interesting little tidbit. Robert Dinkin, a 31-year-old former boxer who who just recently retired, was dubbed the British's world worst boxer. Want to know why? Because everybody's going to laugh about this one.
He was 0-52?
Had 53 losses out of 55 fights. Poof. You kidding me?
Tomato can.
How do
That's
you?
what I said.
How do you get up and get knocked out, get beat up 53 times, and say, you know what? I'm just still gonna get up. I'm still gonna go to work.
Hey, didn't you know that he was on Floyd Mayweather's stripper payroll? Come on.
But I was looking at that and I was like, you know what? This would be one of those easy segments to be, oh, you know what? This guy fought the King of Kings in Britain, which he did. He fought some great guys. He started
lost
off
every single one.
He started off in professional boxing 1-0, and then he lost the next 50 fights. Yes, you know what? That sounds comical. That sounds like something you would see from the Three Stooges movies. I get that. But here's where then it takes an interesting story.
Mo when we needed him?
Right? But it became interesting that when you start looking up who Robin Deakin is, and it goes back to why I like talking to combat fighters. And that is their stories they have to tell to the general public about why you do what you do and why you continue to fight. Because combat sports, a lot of the people, they don't come from the hurrah type of family background. Right. There's something always a little bit off about why they compete at the next level. Because I know, I've said it 100 times on my show, I've never been comfortable about the idea of punching somebody in the face or me getting punched in my face.
But who has?
You do. Yeah. So when I dug deeper into this guy's story, it was interesting because it then shied away from laughing about the fact that the guy lost 53 times. It was the fact that this guy left school at 14 years old in Britain. The fact that the guy had a disability. He had club feet. He could barely walk. He was bullied in school. So rather than saying, you know what, I can't compete because I got a disability, you know what?
And didn't we just talk about that on our last show? About Shaq Griffin?
Yeah.
About him having one arm and he was going out there bench pressing at the combine for 225 pounds 25 times?
Yeah.
Or Nick Newell choking out a dude?
So the fact is that when you can show up to your work and be competitively, see, Nick Newell, another one, and you look at it and you see everything that Rob Deakin has done, the disability, the fact the guy had 2 club feet, had over 20 surgeries to try to fix the issue, the fact that his style was him up against the ropes acting like a makeshift rope-a-dope because he couldn't come forward, the fact that he still wasn't always knocked out, he went to decisions, the fact that as an amateur, wait for it, as an amateur boxer, the guy had 76 fights. 40 of them he won. Because when he got to the pro level, he didn't take the tomato cans. He fought the people who he fought. See, we always talk about in combat sports that if you're going to be a fighter, you show up on that dotted line and you take that fight if you want to fight. You don't run away from it. Nowadays, all you see is people's like, wait, I'm facing that guy? Screw that, I'm out.
I'm passing.
But what he did is on short notices, he showed up. He fought competitors. The fact that he would show up to camps not prepared because he just wanted to fight, so his camps were short. This guy still showed up every day to fight. That's why I like talking to combat fighters, because of their stories. The fact that you know there's kids out there that are saying, oh, I'm getting bullied. I can't do this or I can't do that.
I have a speech impediment. There's a stuttering problem. There's a learning curve disability that I have.
Hey, newsflash, when I was a little kid, I stuttered.
Yep.
Want to know how I motivated myself to do it? My mom and dad got me a sandbox, and I drew every day in that sandbox until I got over my stuttering. I still may not speak the best. I may not have the best grammar. But one thing I do is that I got heart and I got hustle. I may not be the smartest guy in the tool in the shade, But at the end of the day, I don't give up. I still pursue what I want to do. I still try to change what we do every day. Robin Deacon was that guy. Nick Newell is that guy.
Shaq Griffith is that guy.
So you look at all these combat guys, hey, rise up and show continued support.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you've got to, at the end of the day, chalk it up to it is what it is and say, you know what, I can look up to that guy. This guy's now a full-time butcher. That's what he does. Full-time butcher.
Don't we all have now like full-time jobs?
Because at the end of the day, it's where your heart is at and what your hustle is. So when I was doing that, that's where it all went. It was like, oh, I'm going to laugh this right off the paper. And then I was like, wait a second. This guy has another one of those stories that needs to be told. He wants to go on. Now, this is the other thing that makes me laugh a little bit because it's like there's so many other avenues you can go. And the one avenue he said he wants to do is go on London's Big Brother. You do realize there's other avenues that you can tell your story.
15 minutes of fame, why not? You get 13 episodes. Hopefully people can remember who you are at the end of the day. Maybe he could win it. That'll be his one claim to fame. His second pro win. He wins a TV show. He could quit his daily job.
Well, he had 2 wins.
Well, 3 wins. 3. Magic number. Hustle, loyalty, respect. I just say.
Okay, John Cena.
I felt like I had to do that. I was like, yep, definitely working there. But we're going to go to a break and come back with Dana Hernandez, Threshold MMA. She's going to hopefully kill it. I hope. She did good, her little tidbit earlier. So, we're the Sports Warriors. We're the Ducross Brothers. I'm Tristan Ducross. This is my brother, Sean Ducross. Hit us up on Facebook, Sean and Tristan Ducross. Would like our fan page, Ducross Brothers. We're on IELiveTV.com. Make no mistake about it. This
Check out the
is
Sports Warriors with the Ducross Brothers, Sean and Tristan Ducross, live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Ducross Brothers Facebook fan page. You want a new combat sports talk show? Check out the Sports Warriors with the Ducross Brothers, Sean and Tristan Ducross, live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Ducross Brothers Facebook fan page.
We are back. We are the Ducross Brothers, the Sports Warriors. Tristan Ducross, Sean Ducross. Cross that line. We're bringing you local MMA fighters, giving them a platform to give themselves something unique and different because eventually, I hope, everybody wants to become an MMA pro. So why not give them a platform to actually shake the jitters out of them? But Dana Hernandez still has the jitters. Dana Hernandez from Threshold MMA is with us. There you go. She is so nervous.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
See, it wasn't too bad getting you put on the spot earlier in the show. Warmed you up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, tell everybody, how did you ever get started in MMA and why?
Really? Okay.
Really? That's
it's
how
because,
you started?
well, let me get my thoughts going. Okay. I have 3 kids, and my daughter, she's gonna be 8 this year, just kind of fell in love with wrestling in itself. So I figure I've never been a person to play sports or anything like that. So when I saw her love something so much, I figure I want to connect with her, and I started taking wrestling classes with her. I would go to her tournaments, be like, right off the mat, trying to help coach her, even though it wasn't my job to do. And I slowly just started falling in love with it. And where I was training, they did striking, they did grappling, and I just decided to start doing everything. And I never had the intentions to fight. Like, I would go to the fighters class and be the only girl there, and sometimes there'd be girls there to work with, and it just slowly, by the end of that year, it was kind of like my coach Bobby would be like, "Oh, you ready? You ready? You're gonna fight next month." And I would always say no, like, no, that's not something I'm gonna do. And when the next year came around, like, I finally came up to him and I'm like, okay, I'll try it, you know? And I just always said no because, as you can tell, like, I get anxiety and I'm like so nervous about everything being in the spotlight. And when I first walked into that cage, well, the first time that I was supposed to fight, the fight didn't happen. I still ended up grappling that day, and that's actually when I met you guys. I ended up fighting later, like a month later, and when I stepped into that cage, I was the calmest that I've ever been. And that to me was a new feeling. I'm not calm about anything. Like, I'm always so nervous, and so just being in there and just, I honestly think now, after the 2 fights that I've had, I get more nervous doing weigh-ins because I have so much attention on me. Even though I know I have all the attention on me when I'm fighting, I don't see it. Like, I'm in that cage, I'm in a zone, and it's just me and that person. I don't see all the people looking at me, and I still, like, I get more nervous being at weigh-ins and having a camera there, or just having people just looking at me, that rather than when I'm in the cage fighting. So once I finally fought, I'm like, okay, I can keep doing this. Like, I've finally found something where I'm like, I feel like myself and I'm calm, and it's a good feeling.
So when you got into that cage for the first time and you said that you felt a sense of calmness, was there like some type of tunnel vision that you saw going in? Because I've always heard or talked about that when you go in there calm, you see things at a different type of either pace or you just see things mathematically a little bit different, as weird as that may seem. There's just different stuff that goes on.
Yeah. Yeah, because even like watching fights on TV or just being there, I've been at a couple of different shows already, and just watching the fights, everything's happening so fast. When you're in there, I can see every punch coming at me, and I was letting them hit me half the time. But regardless, like, it still happens so much slower when it's happening to you, and it's hard to explain. But it's just like seeing somebody else do it. It just seems so fast, but everything does slow down when you're in there. It's different.
See, isn't that funny how you can go from combat, boxing, football, whatever it may be, and as long as you're an athlete in that moment, everything slows down when you've trained so hard to get to that point.
Yeah.
And where you're at this point, where do you see your MMA going? Is this something you're planning to do for the foreseeable future, or is this something you're just kind of seeing, playing it one step at a time?
I'm playing it one step at a time. I'm definitely still learning a lot. Like I said, I started training 1.5 to 2 years ago, and I did take a couple months off at the end of last year after I fought in June. I did take a couple months off, so now I'm getting back into it. You know, we have a new home, which is Threshold, and it feels good. It's a family, and just getting work in anywhere from 6 to 7 days a week. Like, I'm trying to put in the time to become better, and I want to give myself that time. I still have so much to learn, and I just want to see where it takes me.
When you talk about that, it's much more as a family. Does that help you in your training about wanting to make sure you put everything 110% into it, because you know who's behind you, who's backing you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Just because you know all the people that are there putting in that time, even people that don't intend on fighting. Like, you know, I brought my partner Allison with me. She's my main partner, and she just does it for fun. And it's just, you have people there that are just investing their time to help you grow, even if they don't plan on doing this in the cage. They're just doing it for fun, but they still make it every single day to practice with you and help you grow. And so I feel like I owe them that. When I get in that cage, like, I need to give it my all, and I need to do all the time that I'm putting in and they're putting in for me. Like, I have to show it, and I have to show them that I'm doing my best every time.
So by doing your best, what are you expecting to get out of the new camps and the new fighters that are there at Threshold MMA? Who's coming out of that camp that you're intrigued to see, if anybody's fighting?
Right now, I'm the only girl fighter coming out of Threshold. We do have somebody fairly new as well. Probably not fairly new in fighting, but he's new to our gym. His name is Daniel Ochoa, I believe. He just started coming to train with us, and as of right now, fighter-wise, I think we're the only two, and we just have a big group of people that just love it all in itself. And I think it's because we have such a good example, which is Bobby. Like, everybody sees how much he loves what he does, that it makes people want to do it, whether they plan on doing it in the cage or just to learn, or even just to do grappling tournaments with us. People see how much he loves what he does, that it makes them love it too. And so we're surrounded by so many people, and fighter wise, like I said, there's only two of us right now, but it's going to grow. It happens. We're new, and people will come and try us out, you know?
Getting a chance to talk to Bobby over the course of how long we've known him now and had him on our show, Bobby's one of the unique guys in that you don't meet a lot of guys in this field that's humble and that is very approachable or likable for that matter. And he's that type of guy, and it's interesting to hear that when you talk about family. And it's just like Bobby Sanchez, you go to battle with him any time of the day. His record may be something completely different, and we talked about the last time we had him on our show was his record says something completely different. But at the end of the day, those are the guys that are exactly transitioned to good coaches.
Like I always throw out there, you look at Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky, one of the greatest hockey players ever, but put him behind a bench, he couldn't coach. That's the thing. Some people are meant to coach and not fight. Bobby Sanchez loved to do both, but he's one heck of a coach. And when you put it all together, that is something that you can't take away because it feeds off every single person.
Yeah, definitely. I think even if anybody was interested, just come train with us for a day. We do have, we actually have a couple friends coming to work with us this coming up weekend. And I just think if you give Bobby a chance, if you don't have a coach right now, if you want to get into it, anything like that, that would be the person to go to. Like, he will dedicate so much of his time to you. He doesn't take any days off. You can't get the guy.
Selling Bobby Sanchez and Threshold MMA to the world right now.
I will tell him just because he's taken me to work with other coaches before, all great coaches, but I just don't see myself going to train anywhere else. Like, that's home, that's all family.
And she was nervous, right?
That's what I was saying.
Don't call me out. But no, seriously, he just dedicates a lot of his time to anybody. Like, if you really show that you're dedicated, he's gonna give you everything he's got.
What are your guys' expectations right now with Threshold MMA?
We just want it to grow. We want people to know, we're there, whether it's for fighting, whether it's, I think as of right now, our biggest class is our women's class, and it's just women that want to learn to defend themselves. I think that's something so important. Like I said, it's not so much to fight all the time. It's not so much being in the cage, but just knowing as a person to defend yourself. If anything happens to you, like, that's his main goal, I think. And just all of us as a family, like, people that have gotten into Threshold right now, like, we just want people to have that in them, to know that if I'm walking down the street and somebody comes up to me, I know at least something to defend myself.
See, and that's the thing that I like about MMA is the fact is that I think all women, whether they want to compete, should do it. And it's something that I plan to put my daughter in when she gets older because of that. You don't know which guy is going to come around the corner. You don't know what's going to happen on the street day to day. So I want to know that if I'm not around my daughter at that point in time, she's able to defend herself. And I think all women should take some form of defensive class for whatever it may be, whether it wants to be competitive or just to be able to protect yourself at unforeseen events, because you just don't know. You see it every day in life, is that when you least expect something bad to happen, lately it seems like that's just right around the corner. And it's quite frankly, the society that we are in is so weird and unpredictable. So yeah, if you're a woman out there and you want to protect yourself, go learn with Dana Hernandez and Threshold MMA. Get it out there and be able to protect yourself. But come May 12th,
you have a fight,
i.e. Fight Nights in Ontario. Are you going to protect yourself?
Yeah, of course. I have to. I mean, I don't want to walk out of there looking a mess. No, yeah, I'm putting in the work, so I have to give it my all when I walk in there. I really do. And I always do. The two times that I did, even when I, grappled instead of fought that time, I'm always going to go in there and give it everything I've got. And if, whether when I win or I lose, I still have to learn something from it. I have to take something from each fight. And so I'm looking forward to it. I actually went to their last show, which was on the 24th of last month. And I like how they put the show together. I like that they were focused on the fighters. Like, are you guys comfortable? Do you guys have everything you need? Backstage, like, I feel like a couple of shows that we've been to, like, they don't focus so much on the fighters, but they're the ones putting the show, So I think it's honestly a great show to fight for, and I'm looking forward to it.
That's the thing that
Lorenz Larkin, David Bramlett.
Yeah, that was our experience when we were there the 24th, was the fact that they focused on the fighters. And when we spoke to Lorenz Larkin, who is a fighter, who does fight for the Bellator, was that he wants to give back to the fighters. Treat the fighters as they should be treated, because there are other promotions out there that don't treat fighters as fighters. And it's like, yeah, they're amateurs, but they're fighters. They want to do this. So why are you treating them less?
Mm-hmm. And come May 12th in Ontario at, what is it? What is the arena? I totally
California Education
of
Performing Arts in Ontario, California.
I was trying to say that all night when I was calling the fights. Nope. Nope. I called it CSEC. We'll just call it that. Because I was like, I am not saying that long word. We are on air. That would take me 4 million years just to get that out. Nope.
So May 12th, what can the fight fans expect from seeing Dana Hernandez in the cage?
If anybody's, I don't know if one of my fights was for sure on TV. If anybody's watched me fight, I just want to say I think I've grown a lot more from the last two times that I fought, and I expect to come out of there with the win.
But you said your wrestling's a 2.
My wrestling's a 2? Yeah. You have to keep learning. Like, nobody, I just.
You can still learn and say that you were like a 5.
No.
You said you were a 2. I have vastly improved. Wrestling's a 2, though.
Well, then I'll let you be the judge of that.
Okay.
There you go. May 12th, we'll be the judge of the wrestling, as we call the action for IE Fight Nights.
We are the Ducross Brothers. We are the Sports Warriors. We do this every Wednesday right here at ielivetv.com, on Facebook Live, on YouTube.
You're at the Warriors Den,
right?
That's what you're calling it now?
Absolutely. Dana, what do you think? Warriors Den?
I like it.
You like
It's
it?
a good ring to it.
Right?
There you go.
You didn't do too bad. The minute I say that, she starts giggling again.
But yeah, so check us out next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we're also have another guest.
Yep. Apparently, since we get a new home, a new studio, Warriors Den, fighters, everybody, y'all welcome to the Warriors Den.
Amateur, pro, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We'll interview you all day long. We'll give you a platform. We'll show you off just
Seriously.
like Dana Hernandez. Get the world to recognize other people out there than just your typical pros that out there that everybody wants to line up in an interview.
Right.
So check us out next week, Wednesday.
Come cross the line. We got you.
7 p.m.
Right. 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You name it. We got you covered. UFC, Bellator, Amateur, got you all day. I'm Tristan Ducross. This is Sean Ducross. We're the Sports Warriors, the Ducross Brothers. We're out until next time.
Let's get it on! Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.